All right, welcome back to the last installment of the FFP videos that we're going to be doing for now until it becomes public release, and that is settings for the Aegis X mod that works with the induction module. There are a few other mods that work, like the Legend 200 TC. The Aegis X is just the one that the beta testers have extensively used. There aren't a lot of us, or I think any of us, that are really Nic mod vape users. So we are really excited for the public Dynaverse to start getting their hands on these, to be able to see more mods that it can and will work with. So for now, the best suggestion we can give you is to pick up one of these Aegis X mods, and I will go over some of the settings in this video to show you what some of this means, especially for those of us that are Dyna nerds and not familiar with the Nic mod world. This is the Aegis X. There's only 3 buttons on this device. These 2 buttons are your up and down buttons, which you use to navigate the menus, as well as to low and raise the wattage. And this is your main button, which fires the device and also is how you turn the device on and off. 5 quick pushes of this button turn it on and off, and 3 get you into the menus. So let's just dive into the settings on here. So as I talked about in the last video where I showed you how to use it, for titanium, we're going to be setting to 55 watts. For stainless steel, we're going to be setting to 50 watts. And you do that just simply by dialing the watts up or down. Now, you can really fine tune this, and what's going to dictate how this number changes is the cap that you use and the tip that you use. Denser tips and caps that are older are going to have a different reaction inside the induction module than a titanium tip. So that's going to be up to you to really fine tune and decide what wattage you want to run at. As a good starting point, 50 for stainless steel, 55 for titanium, I found is really a jump off board where you can go from there, dial it up or down every time you do a cap, and kind of just science for yourself. So we'll just dial it back up to 55 here. You can hold the buttons to just kind of surf through, or you can click it to really get fine-tuned numbers in there. And that's just done with these 2 buttons on the side there. This next part, for getting into the settings menu, I suggest grabbing an empty Vap cap and just sticking it in there. It makes it a lot easier for the button pushes. So you're going to want to start by doing 3 button pushes. 1, 2, 3. And that will turn this M1 white. That is the modes. So what's cool about this mod, you kind of got to be quick with these menus. So they are timed. 1, 2, 3, turns white. You can surf through these modes. So basically you can choose up to 4 different setting modes that you like, and you can just switch between those. So let's say you are a Nic mod vapor. You can have mode 1 for your Nic tank, and then mode 2 for your Dynavaps, which is kind of cool, you know, and mode 3 could be your stainless steel setting, and mode 4 could be your experimental science setting. So for me, I have mode 1, which is my titanium setting, and then, oh, see, you got to be quick with the button pushes because it'll reset. So 1, 2, 3, that turns white. You hit the power button again. Now that'll go down to power. So this option is for what mode the mod is in. Power is done by watts. TCR, TI, NI, SS, those are all ones. Bypass are all ones as Dynavap users with the FFP we're not going to use. Those are all for very specific Nic tank coils. Really the only 2 that we're going to pay attention to is going to be VPC time and power. Click the top button again. So on power, now you're going to see soft, standard, and powerful. Okay, I'm going to stop on this for a second. I leave mine at powerful, and let me explain why here. Okay, so what that setting does is basically when you hit the button, On powerful, that's like an on-off switch. You're turning it on and turning it off. When you switch that mode to soft or standard, what's happening is the power is on a ramp up. So it happens within matter of, milliseconds or seconds. So this isn't a long drawn out thing. But what's happening is that instead of the coil turning on and off and on and off, it's ramping up and it's feeding power to the coil in a ramp style. So it starts low and then turns it up, almost like turning up a volume knob instead of an on-off switch. So with soft, you're slowly turning up the volume knob till you get to full. With standard, you're kind of doing a medium. With powerful, it's just on-off. Which is why for the Dynavap in this setup, it's better just to go on-off because we don't really need that slow ramp up like some NIC coils need. All right, so then to get back in the menu, 1, 2, 3, it turns white, click 1, click 2. Now we're back and see here's the soft, standard, and powerful. So I suggest leaving that one on powerful. Click again. That's going to reset your coil ohms, which should happen every time you unscrew and screw this with something different. So if you're switching between a NIC mod and this, it'll ask you if you just put a new coil on. Then you get around, you'll see when the puff counter is white. If you were to push the up button on this, and now it would reset that back to 0. That's how many times I've fired this device since I last reset it. In my current testing status, this is what I used when I was beta testing to keep track of how many sessions I would have, or to keep track of, if I had any issues and how many puffs since the last issue or something like that, or, just a general way to keep count. Okay, so now the next section is we get back into that little mode selection. So we want 1, 2, 3. That's going to turn white. Then you're going to take and push and hold the 2 side buttons together. And it's going to pop up with this menu. And this is where all the device settings are. This is an auto off on thing. I just leave it on auto. Theme. This is some fun stuff that you can just customize what you look for. There's a couple different themes. Color. A couple different colors. I did green for Dynatec. Then the version, a battery thing, and I'm not really sure. I got to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what this battery thing does. I'll have to look that up. And a factory reset. The version number, we've checked across different Aegis X devices. We haven't noticed that the different version numbers meant anything or affected the mod differently. And that's that. Okay, now that we've talked a little bit about those settings, we're going to talk about something I glazed over, which is this VPC time. So what this does is it basically allows you to set how much time and how much wattage you're getting for that amount of time. So you can hold the button and basically say for the first couple seconds it's going to give me 50 watts. For the next couple seconds it's going to give me 55 watts and then 50 watts. We can use this. I haven't spent a lot of time messing around with this because I feel like for our application and in the time that we need to do it, I like driving it manually with the sip and dip method and pulsing the button to control the heat like a gas pedal, and would like to leave that unautomated. I encourage those of you that picked up the beta to mess around with that a little bit. It is something that you can fall down to a rabbit hole of a little bit and just start really deep diving into those VPC and coming up with different profiles. And if you find a setting that you like and works really well, hit me up, let me know, and let's talk about it. Thanks for watching the video on the Aegis X. If you have any other questions about the settings, the induction module, or how to use this setup, please reach out. Stay lifted.
Cool.